Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heart Centered Tarot. As always, my name is Marina, and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. Welcome to Kitchen Table Issues. And where's Cleo? I don't know. It is entirely possible she might have had issues. I did send her an email saying, hey, I'm waiting for you backstage. So she may join us still. And I hope that she will, because it's always fun to do this show with her and get her perspective and so on. In the meantime, in the meantime, let us get going. So, hello to those of you that are here with me. Thank you for joining me. Hello to Debbie Smith. We've got Anita Kay, Sherry Williams, Patrick Duncan. Hello. And yeah, so we'll just hope. And there's a few of you that are lurking. It's okay. Lurking is allowed. I don't mind that at all. um and Patrick says, yeah, she might have laid down for a quick siesta. Yeah. Believe me, I have done that myself. So, hello, Mary. Cleo is usually, very prompt and on time and all that good stuff. So could be the timing, it could be the weather, it could be internet, it could be any number of things. So we'll just carry on and hope that she's able to join us when she's able to join us. So hello, beautiful butterfly, Witchy Gardens. Nice to see you here. So while we're waiting for Cleo, let's take a look at some of the things that are going on around us. Hello, Melissa Gerber. Nice to see you here. Viviani, nice to see you here. So, lots of things happening. Okay, lots of news all over the place. I don't know what we're going to do when the day comes or the week comes where there isn't a whole lot of turmoil. What are we going to do with ourselves? What are we going to talk about? So, hello, artist Liz. Nice to see you here. So, let me pull out. I'm going to use the Mystic Palette Tarot. And yeah, Rose Blue couldn't have diagnosed by. Yeah, he needs to. Yeah. And hello, Old Silver. So, yeah, Marina 41. Hello, nice to see you. Yes, I do too, beautiful butterfly. I think it will just be absolutely fabulous when we can say, yeah, nothing major going on in the news. Everyone seems to be happy. Everyone seems to be doing okay. So yeah, we'll just enjoy that wonderful feeling when it does come. So while we're waiting, I do want to remind everyone. Hello, Amanda Carroll. That this Saturday is the 7th Shine Your Light event. So, please do consider joining me for that. We start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be going until well after 10 Eastern Standard Time, because we do our turning on the porch lights as soon as we hit 7 p.m. in the various time zones. So there you go. All right. And Anya, nice to see you here. Jason Vincent, hello. And thank you for the morning message from yesterday evening. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you watched it. And hope you found it informative. So the first thing that I thought we would take a look at what's in the news is, of course, Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis. So yeah, that one kind of took me a little by surprise. Thank you for that sticker, beautiful butterfly. That is very kind of you. I hope it is returned to you 1,000-fold. Yes. So it was a little bit of a shock, obviously. But anytime that someone gets to a certain age, you kind of expect that things might go a little sideways, and it does answer something for us that yes, old Silver, yeah, his energy had dropped, yes, and yeah, hello, Edward Kenneth, nice to see you here. But I just want to remind you guys that there was a lot of psychics who, before the election, before Joe Biden stepped down, that the cards that we were getting seemed to suggest that he would get in power, but he wouldn't finish out the term, and couldn't quite understand what that was all about. So I think the fact that we've heard of his diagnosis now, that might it just gives a little bit of clarity to maybe what we were picking up. So, and yes, beautiful butterfly. Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, Linda G had posted that as well. So it just kind of it's a little bit of a validation for us that, okay, maybe we were picking up on the right things, just not the right timing, which, yeah. So I thought we'd take a look at Biden's energy right now. And I did do a reading for my members that went out yesterday, kind of discussing a little bit about what he's doing. So let's take a look and see what we have. I think he is he's very much a man of faith. So I think I don't think that it came as quite the shock and surprise that we would imagine. So what do we have? We start off with the Hermit. Yes, how is he doing? He's going inwards. He's thinking about this. He's looking for a new path forward. And he realizes that what he needs to do right now is just a little bit of rest, relaxation, and you absolutely know that that Jill is going to be right there with him, and she's going to make sure that anybody who comes around him is going to have to be positive and encouraging and all that good stuff. She's not going to put up with any BS. So yeah, he's currently in hermit mode, and probably doing a lot of praying and time with family and so on. Crossed by the Knight of Pentacles. He's relying on his values. He's relying on the legacy and the things that he's leaving behind. So good for him. I mean, he's had a good life. It's been a little tumultuous over the last number of years, and that has nothing to do with his character and everything to do with the people attacking him, and we know who they are. So I think that he is absolutely going to he's going to get through this one way or another. Now, I did hear that this is that they do have hormone therapy that is, usually successful with this kind of cancer, even though it is aggressive. It's still, it's, and I know this is going to sound awful, okay? I think that it would be a lot harder for us to accept the diagnosis if Biden was in his 30s, even in his 40s. We would say, "Oh my gosh, such a diagnosis for a young man." But he is in his 80s, and these are things that we kind of anticipate, that are going to come by at this time. And naturally, we're sending him lots of light, love, compassion, healing, whatever it is that he needs. And we hope and pray for the best possible outcome, right? Which is kind of what we do. And yes, Melissa, it's what would have happened if the election hadn't been hijacked. He would probably be, he would have to step down, and Kamala Harris would be president, which is, kind of the way that we saw things. And, Old Silver, they are always going to see him as a legitimate target because they can never face the fact that the mess that the U.S. is in right now is a mess of their own doing. They're always going to look for the scapegoat. They're always going to find someone that they can, that they can point out and say, well, no, it's not me, it's them. He's the guy, and so on. Just like very recently, when Don Jr. didn't appreciate kind of being compared to Hunter Biden. Dude, if you can't take it, don't dish it out, right? Okay, I just got an email. Let me check and see if it's from Cleo. Yeah, she says, oh no, I thought it was 6 p.m. She'll be here in about 10 minutes. Yay! So we'll do what we can until she gets here. So it's always kind of humorous to me that that MAGA will, whatever their dear leader and his family do, is always, okay and acceptable. If somebody else does the same thing, oh man, they're clutching their pearls, they're getting the vapors, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. How can that happen? And how can, I heard recently where they were comparing that, well, Obama added trillions of dollars, to the deficit when comparing to how much Trump has added to the deficit. Yeah, Obama did. He added less than Trump did, and he added it over 8 years. Trump did it in 4. So, it's always trying to compare apples and oranges and convince you that you're looking at blueberries, So what can you do? Yeah. And yes, Rose Blue, family can do nothing wrong. Yeah. And 45 was saying that he's in such better health than Biden is. Oh, please. Yeah. says the 6'2", 235-pound man in the room. Yeah, who has to walk around with a diaper because he shits himself on a regular basis. Entertainment purposes only. I'm just a card reader. What do I know, right? So, yeah, let me just scroll up and see. Entire Biden will return and then Biden will step down for Kamala. This was an earlier prediction. Melissa, it's entirely possible. Um, and yes, with Biden's diagnosis, with this hormone therapy, they can't stop the progress of the cancer, but they can slow it down. And they've had good luck with getting to the point that they can extend a person's life. So, at this stage, he is in his 80s. If he gets another 5-10 years, hey, it's still a good life, right? It's still yeah, good life. I mean, we all have to go sometime, right? So I think that he will go down as one of the best presidents that the United States has had, assuming that we get to write the history of the United States and that, you know, certain things aren't taken away from people. Yeah. Um, oh, artist Liz, you and me both. Yes. Yeah. I hope that he does. I hope that he is there to attend Cheeto's funeral. Yeah, absolutely. And yes, Obama did reduce the deficit. Obama did a lot of wonderful things. And yes, Debbie Smith, once the bill gets through the Senate and whatnot, yeah, they do not realize that they have voted in someone who is going to do everything that is against their interests. So while they're shouting now that yeah, they own the libs and blah blah blah, traditionally it is the red states who rely on the blue states so that their people can have welfare and SNAP and Medicaid and all that good stuff. So yeah, when the proverbial what hits the fan, it's going to impact them directly. And you have heard me say many times in the past that when are things going to change? When it affects them directly. When it all of a sudden that disability payment that you count on to come in every month isn't there. They'll be going, well, what, who, where, what, yeah, take it away from the other people, but don't take it away from me. I voted for you. That's the mindset. So, yeah, when it starts to affect them personally, and they have to struggle, and they might have to consider, maybe selling their homes and taking a loss, and they're not going to have all these things. Then, and only then, will they come around. Okay, you guys, hold on.
How embarrassing. I'm so sorry, Marina. I'm so sorry. I thought for sure when I read that it was going to be at 6:00. So
it happens.
At the last minute, I just thought I was getting ready to eat lunch, and I looked and I thought I better check and make sure that it was at 6. And that's when I got your email that said, "Hey, where the hell are you?" Anyway,
I'm backstage. I know. Not to worry, not to worry. Patrick actually thought that you might have laid down for a nap. And, he said, you know what it's like. You lay down just for a quick nap and 4 hours later. So, but you're here and that's
No,
okay.
no naps. I'm not a nap person, but
Yeah.
no.
Well, you're here. You made it. It's fine. We were
And
just,
let me ask you something real quick. I'm using a new microphone. I've never had a separate microphone. It was coming from my camera. Can you hear me okay?
absolutely.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Sound is good. You look good. It's all good.
I didn't have time to do my hair, but whatever.
Don't worry about it. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Yeah, I was
Okay.
saying to the folks, like I can do this, but I like to do this with Cleo. I don't. So
So what
anyway,
were you talking about?
well, we were just talking about Biden's cancer diagnosis,
Oh yeah, terrible.
and what it did set everyone back. It was unexpected. But one of the things that it did kind of answer for a lot of us is, and Linda G also posted this on her channel, was that, remember before the election, before he stepped down, that we were getting the cards and the impression that he would get reelected, but he wouldn't finish out his term.
Yeah.
And I think that this kind of validates a little bit of what we were getting.
Absolutely.
Because
It's exactly what I thought about when I heard about the diagnosis, and I thought,
yeah,
boy, this, if this had gone the way it was supposed to, if the vote
yeah,
would have been counted correctly, it would have been Biden in office and it would have been Kamala taking over. But, things happen and there's a lot of illegal stuff going on. As a matter of fact, I just read that the Department of Justice is thinking about bringing charges against Jill Biden. And this guy says he wants to put her in jail because she did not, she knew that he was sick and she still wanted him to run for president. I'm like, what in the? It's so dumb.
listen, you elect clowns, you get a circus, right?
Yeah.
That is, and you know why they would come out with something like that right now? Because they know that Jill is his rock.
Well, and they also have
Yeah,
been doing everything they can because they brought up another thing in a different article about, that they've had all this negative publicity about Biden just in the last, well, like probably last Thursday.
yeah,
And he comes up with this, and they're acting like, well, he's coming up with something that's not true. They're trying to say the whole thing's not true. Trump isn't. At least Trump had the common decency to, wish him well and hope that the treatment went okay and stuff, and was very sorry for what was going on. And I'm thinking, well, he has to do that, but he probably didn't
yeah.
want to. But in the
No,
meantime,
somebody else wrote that for him.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
Joe
but
Biden does have cancer. He's got a very evasive prostate cancer. And
yes,
I read, I don't know if this is true or not, but that it already has metastasized to the
yes,
bone.
yes,
Um, this is really a bad thing. I just don't,
yes.
so sad, so sad.
It is. It is. And my feeling is, I think that the news would have been much worse if maybe he was a man in his 30s, maybe 40s, because then you could say, oh my gosh, what a terrible thing to happen. It's still a terrible thing to happen, even at his age. He is 80. So if this hormone therapy that they've had some success with, even if it extends his life by another 5 or 10 years, it's still a life well led.
Oh, this is definitely,
You know,
he's 82 and,
82. Yeah.
he's definitely, no, I mean, this is just, plus it's progressed really rapidly.
Yes.
But I'm just kind of wondering, did he not feel good? He just happened to go in for a routine exam and they found this. And I'm thinking, he did seem like he wasn't feeling too well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, I just hate to hear this and see this.
Yeah.
But yes, he is 82. And there's a good possibility that
Yeah.
things won't go well. If they do go well, hallelujah. I
Absolutely.
mean,
Absolutely. I think someone mentioned, I think it might have been Liz, but I'm not sure. Anyway, someone mentioned that they hoped that Biden outlives the Cheeto man. And I would love to see Biden attending Cheeto Man's funeral. Wouldn't that be something? Even
that
if they
would
brought
be.
him in a wheelchair, it would still be a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he just says so many terrible things about Biden that is
Yes.
absolutely not true. But, his little following, his little minions,
Mhm.
they just support that 100%. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they do. That's why they're coming out with reasons that, oh no, he's lying. He's lying.
why
No,
would he
no,
lie
Biden isn't
about
lying. But
he
who
never he
yeah,
never lies, but they're constantly accusing him of that. It's
it's
just
because that's what
amazing
their
to
guy
me.
does.
Pardon me?
It's because that's what their guy does.
Yeah. Well,
You
their
know?
guy,
Yeah, yeah,
we have yet to hear a truthful sentence come out of that guy at
ever.
all.
Yeah, ever, ever.
And boy, hasn't he been busy.
Oh,
Hasn't he been busy? He wants that airplane. He wants that $400 million airplane. And it's
he
not
does.
going to be a replacement for the
Air
presidential
Force One?
airplane. It's
No.
a gift to him. And his kids are down there in Saudi Arabia just making all kinds of money and putting together some kind of business deals. And his connection with Saudi Arabia, when I first saw it, I just thought, everybody's been saying that when the hammer comes down and he is convicted or he is on trial or whatever, maybe he's he wants to avoid jail. He's
Yeah,
running to Saudi Arabia. Well, this
yes.
just cements what all the psychics have been saying. Um, I'm not one of them, actually. I don't think that has been saying that, but I've been hearing what other people have said, and I'm like, well, there you go. That he's getting it all set up. He's getting his plan in place. And I love it that he's doing it now because that probably means that he is well aware that the end is coming soon.
Mhm. Yep,
So yes,
absolutely.
yes,
Absolutely. He cannot complain about why it's taking so long for Air Force One to be put together and built, and why there's delay after delay after delay. Listen, Obama put the order in for new Air Force One when he was president. Donald Trump came along and said, no, no, I'm canceling that. So now, if you don't have a workable plane, whose fault is that? You canceled the order. You can't now say, well, it's somebody else's fault. No, it's not. It's yours. You did it. If you had left things alone, you'd have a brand new plane.
I'm glad you told me that. I didn't realize that.
Yes.
'Cause he's been complaining that the current plane is like 40 years old or something. And I'm thinking,
Yes.
God, that is pretty old. Why haven't we were talking about the president? Why haven't they
Yeah.
done something? It sounds like they did try to do something and then he canceled
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
But him taking this plane and saying that, it'd be the new Air Force One, it won't be.
No.
If he does take it, it won't be.
No.
He's really crazy for taking it because you talk about a nail in the coffin. This thing, he's just like putting a cave into it. I mean,
Yeah.
other people are looking at this like it's, talk about quid pro quo, that word that we that we learned about when on his first trip
Yeah.
around the presidency,
Yes.
that when he tried to work out with Zelensky,
Mhm.
you do this for me and I'll do that for you.
Yes.
So, tell me when somebody hands you a $400 million anything, of course they expect something in return, not
Yes.
just oh, hey, thanks, see you later. No way
Yeah.
in the world is that going to happen.
No, there is. Yeah, they are going to get something in return, or they have already received something from him, and this is a payment for that.
Probably because, yes, because
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of business down there and there's a lot of money down there. Plus this cryptocurrency stuff that they're involved in. I wish I could find, I just don't understand how this is working, but it just
I
sounds,
know.
uh, my sister had said, well, he's making billions of dollars off of this. And I'm like, how does this happen? Uh, but yeah, and it's happening down there. It's happening in Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia. Um,
Yes.
and as well as here, but yeah, there's his connection to Saudi Arabia is just as it's worse, I think, maybe than his connection to Russia. I think the kind of control that he has here going
Yeah.
on,
Yeah, well, it would make sense because the Saudi Arabia has a lot more money than Russia does. Russia doesn't have a whole lot of money right now.
right.
There's nothing that he can pull from Russia, and yet, um, yeah, just before I came on, I was double checking BBC News, and they were talking about how Russia and Ukraine have agreed to immediately start ceasefire talks after they both had conversations with Trump. Apparently,
Well,
Trump,
I heard that.
yeah, talked to Putin for a couple hours, and then he talked to Zelensky and so on. Yeah, Russia really doesn't have a whole Russia has got information on him, but there isn't a whole lot that they could offer him. Um, in terms of that quid pro quo. So now he's looking for another he's looking for a new daddy who's got the bucks, who's going to pay me. So yeah, whether or not, and that was one of the things that I thought, we might be able to take a look at is um, these peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Putin didn't show up in Turkey.
Right.
He just didn't bother to show up. Putin doesn't want a ceasefire. He doesn't want the war to end.
He
You know,
wants Ukraine. He wants as much
wants
of it as he can
Ukraine.
get. And I know there's still, it leaves Ukraine in a bad situation because they're still going to have to give up some of their land and some of their resources. And so, and Trump is just saying, let's just quit the war. Let's just stop this. And so,
Sure, yeah.
If Putin got exactly what he wanted, of course he would do that. But,
Yes.
I just love it. Just like you were saying that they had it all set up to have a meeting.
Yep.
And he didn't show up. And now, Trump says, oh yeah, I talked to everybody and now they're right on board and they're going to start talking about a ceasefire or they're going to get together and have a meeting or something. I don't believe him anymore.
No.
Or maybe he did say that and maybe Putin said, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. Let's go for it. And he has
and sure, and Putin can send one of his minions to go in and try to talk to Zelensky, but they come with conditions. We will only talk about a ceasefire if Ukraine agrees to this and this and this and this. No, it's you don't come to the table with those demands. You want a ceasefire? Yeah, okay. Well, we'll talk about a ceasefire, but no preconditions. And that anytime that they put the preconditions on and what they talk about, that just tells me that, yeah, Putin does not want an end to this war. He's going to continue to go in there and do whatever he can until, Ukraine gives up and says, no, that's it. No, we can't fight anymore. And then Putin can come in and go, oh, great, mine, all mine.
I don't think Russia is hurting enough to
Exactly.
actually say, yeah, let's do a ceasefire. Let's try this.
Yeah, because they don't want, well, one of their conditions is they don't want Ukraine to be part of the EU. They don't want Ukraine to join NATO. These are all things that are in Ukraine's best interests. So, really, is Ukraine going to say, sure, we're going to give all that up? We're not going to. Yeah, we're just going to be at the mercy of Russia whenever they decide that they want to come in and take more land. We're just going to go, oh yes, absolutely, yeah, Vlad, go ahead, take your pick. It's not going to happen.
Also, the way Trump is wording all this is he's acting like first of all that he's mad at Putin.
Yeah.
And he's putting his foot down. I want you, it's like I want you kids to settle down.
Yes.
And he's also saying, I don't know if he actually said it or he implied it, but he said that, they would basically, the United States would continue to help Ukraine if these things didn't go through. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I thought you just told us that you're not going to help Ukraine.
Yeah.
So which way, which is it? It's really just a huge mess. And I really think at this point that Trump is so busy thinking about that $400 million plan of his own.
That and the Nobel Peace Prize. He wants that so desperately.
Oh, is that why he's pulling all his crap? Oh,
because Obama got one, so he needs to have one, right? It's never going to happen. Never, ever, ever is it going to happen, because
that is why he keeps pushing for, I just want peace. I just want peace. I didn't realize that was such a big deal that he wanted to definitely get that. Oh no, I don't see that the other countries no, the other countries are like, what?
No, you don't get the Peace Prize for starting arguments with your allies, for putting tariffs on an island that is basically overrun with penguins, because those darn penguins are working against him. And so
I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. Speaking of tariffs, this most recent thing with Walmart, where he said, eat the tariffs. What in the hell is he talking about? Why would any business, I guess now we're talking about 30% tariffs from China.
Yes. From the 145, and he's not backing down, because China has they've been so nasty to us. They've been so,
well, and I think China did raise some tariffs on the United States for more than 30%. But, this is something we're all going through, this 90-day period where it's going to be, I can't quite figure it out. Are the tariffs happening right this minute? Because Walmart, I don't know how they're going to respond to this. I haven't really heard yet what Walmart wants to do, but they're huge. They're all over the world. There's a lot of money involved there. No, I just don't see. First of all, I don't, he doesn't want anybody, including Amazon, to write down to say stuff like, well, the price went up because of tariffs.
Yes.
And he doesn't want anybody to increase the price. He just wants them to accept the tariffs. And I'm thinking, clever, very clever. He doesn't want to tax the rich, and he's still like the rich guys to be on his side. And so he's bringing up these tariffs to compensate for the money that they wouldn't get from the rich people. Then he turns around and takes the rich people's profits and says, no, you don't need to make any more than that. Eat the tariffs. Yeah. So which is it? Why would he screw around? Why not just go back to square one, put the proper taxes on everybody, especially the rich, and then and then worry about these tariff things are just terrible. Just
They
terrible.
are. They are. Nobody likes them. Nobody. It's his big thing. His concept, really. And yet, thank you for that, Rose Blue. And she says, yeah, because anything he says is stupid. Period. Absolutely. To him, in his mind,
That's true.
when you put a tariff on another country, they pay for the tariff. And his rationale stops there. Yes, the country does pay for the tariff. So what are they going to do? That item that they used to sell to you for $8 now costs $10. So they're not going to sell it to you for 8. They're going to sell it to you for 11 so that they can still make a profit. So when it comes into your country and now it costs $11, the people that are selling that item to the consumer are going to say, ooh, I'm not making profit. Okay, so I need to charge $13. So what used to cost 8 now costs 13. And who's paying that $13? Is it the country? No, it's the guy who ends up buying the product. So
Well, and then that product that went from 8 to 13 goes to, is shipped over,
yeah,
and that costs money too, shipping.
yes,
And then it goes over to the United States and it goes into somebody's business.
yes,
And now they have to raise the price. So your $8 item just went up to about 15
yeah,
or $20 because they've got to make a profit as well to stay in business.
exactly,
So it just gets
exactly.
worse and worse. And I tell you, people will stop buying certain things. And that's the
Well,
other thing Trump said is quit buying all this stuff. I'm like, what? Which way are we going with this? First of all, it's probably not going to be there.
yeah,
People are going to go out of business, especially small businesses.
smaller, yes, yeah,
The
those that have very thin profit margins to as it is anyway. Yeah, they're not going to be able to eat the tariffs. They're not going to be able to raise their prices so that they can continue to eke out a small profit. So what are they going to do? They're going to fold.
Yeah. Well,
And
I've already seen this in my area. There's been a couple furniture stores that
yeah,
they just, there's not a big,
no,
they don't make a hell of a lot of money on that. And it takes up floor space. It's expensive to get in the first place. And so they're folding. They don't have a choice. And
yes,
they're all like locally owned and, in the family for the last 30 years. And
yes,
now they can't make it. So,
exactly.
but it won't just affect, those kind of things. It affects going out to dinner. It affects, fast
Everything,
food, everything,
everything. Yeah.
everything.
And yes, Amanda Carroll, he doesn't even understand the concept of groceries. It's an old fashioned term, groceries. That's what he was talking about in
An old fashioned
Nickelodeon Radio.
term.
Yeah, an old fashioned term, groceries. Dude has never stepped into a grocery store. You know,
What is he talking about? An old term? I mean, isn't that what it's called? Groceries.
groceries.
I mean,
Yeah,
legit.
it's not like, they're talking about, um, you know, when people used to say, well, what are you doing on Saturday night? Oh, we're going to the pictures. That's an old fashioned term because people don't use it anymore. You know, groceries where I have to go. Yeah, I have to go
What
pick
what
up
is
some
what is
groceries.
his new term for groceries?
I don't know.
I don't either. I'd
I
love to
don't
know.
know,
I'm
but
going to get food.
yeah, exactly. It is. Yeah, he's the more ridiculous that he gets, the closer that we get to the moment where things start to fall apart. So yeah, when there's no more people, immigrants, if you will, that are not working at the fast food places because they've been deported. Bubba's not going to stand behind the counter for, $8 an hour. Too good for him, No, he's not going to do that. So, a lot of the fast food places are going to shut down because there's nobody there to operate them. And even if there was people there, the price of the goods that you need to buy to make the burgers and the fries and the onion rings and all that is going to go up. People can't afford that. So
and speaking of the immigrants, this latest thing with the Supreme Court, I be honest, I don't know that much about it, but I was just disgusted that they want to get rid of a policy that Biden put in that kind of helped these people, the Venezuela people, I believe it is.
The Venezuelans.
They want to take 350,000 Venezuelans and ship them out of here. Nothing could be more inhumane and wrong. And they're in the damn Supreme Court is going along with them on this, saying, yes, you can do that. Go ahead, do it. And we have so many problems. We've got the Republicans, and then we've got the Supreme Court backing up the things that are totally illegal. I just, I don't know how much messier it's going to get, but it's getting pretty bad. Which, by the way, I had a little talk with Spirit today, and we've decided, because I get so hung up on trying to describe who is the criminals. So I'm just going to break it down to the good guys and the bad guys. And the bad guys wear red, and the good guys wear blue. So that's all. I just want this to be really clear about what I'm talking about, because the bad guys right now, there is a bunch of blue guys that are working secretively within the White House and around the country. And they are picking up all the things that are going on. They're making notes, but they're also looking around like, yes, Mr. Trump, whatever you say, sir. Yes, sir. And they're, and I knew that these were happening, but of course I didn't have names, and I didn't know if they were directly. I believe that there is some directly involved with the White House. I also believe that there's people outside of that, but they have to be so careful because of retribution. By our current president. He'll come after these people. He'll take away their jobs. He will threaten their families, just like a good mob boss. So when we're all waiting to see what happens, and we know it's to us, it's just like clear as a bell. Why don't you just go out, arrest him, and get it over with? They can't do it that way. And so that is part of the reason, it's a big reason why all of this is taking so much time. And also it just keeps getting worse and worse. And I'm thinking, well, you're just piling on more and more and more illegal activity. And it's just, we keep waiting. We're hearing like this summer something will happen. Well, this summer is getting very close. We're halfway through May. It's gonna, we're into June, July, August. To me, is the summertime months. And so I am hoping and praying that this is what happens. But I'm no longer going to try to pinpoint certain names of people. I just want to keep it the good guys and the bad guys, and everybody knows we're on the good side. And we always have been, and we know who the bad guys are. So, because I think it kind of affects, I think YouTube might be keeping track of some of this. So when I say good guys, we're talking about you. And when I say bad guys, we're talking about who.
There's I know that there are things happening behind the scenes. I'm okay with not knowing exactly when the the shite is going to hit the fan. That's not my job. My job is to know that this will all come to an end and we are going through this for a reason. Some of us kind of feel a little put out that we have to learn the lesson that the idiot doesn't get, right? They will when they start to feel it, when their life is absolutely shaken apart because Mima's pension didn't come in. Yeah, the tornado done blew the roof off of my house, and there isn't, what do you mean I'm not going to get any money from the government? And what do you mean that I
You're
can't go
not getting not just money, any help, no help.
Exactly. No help. It's like, they're going to start asking who's responsible for this. And it's going to be our job to say, you are. You are. Because of the way that you voted it's because of the people that you put in power, and you stood by them and you stood behind them and you said, yes, I believe in what they believe in. I believe that America is for Americans. Guess what? Unless you're native, you are not American. Okay, so your parents and grandparents and great grandparents, they came over here from somewhere, and they took that land from the people who it belonged to, who didn't have a problem with sharing the land, but you couldn't share. You had to own it. And you had to take the people who were originally here and make their life absolutely miserable because it's my right. I'm white. I have privilege. So I'm I am almost anxiously waiting for that day when it happens to be able to explain to them, well, whose fault is this? It's yours.
It's the Supreme
Yours.
Courts too. It's
Yes.
it's the
It's
bad
like,
guys in the Supreme Court.
yeah.
And the Supreme Court, I thought it was so interesting that the Supreme
Yes.
Court, I can't remember exactly what it was, but they came out with a thing that didn't help Trump, and they came out 9-0.
Yep.
So it was, unanimous.
Yep.
But then what does Trump do? He threatened them. He verbally threatened them, and he threatened them on his Truth Social thing. And then the next thing that came up, they backed right down and started doing exactly what he wanted it to do. This is a dictator. This is no
Yes.
longer a president. This is a dictator. And
Absolutely.
don't think this is what I'm hoping for. Don't think that for a minute that there's not millions of people that are not going to go. They're not going to go for this, and it is going to get turned around. But it's going to be
It
really
is.
hard to do because the more time that goes on, the worse it gets, and so many things are going to have to be redone entirely.
Yeah, you know what? This is very much that tower moment, the tower card in the tarot, where what has been happening over the years is there's been band-aids that have been put on the cracks. There's been, you make a spitball and you put it so that the crack doesn't go any further. There's been all these quick fixes, when what needs to happen is the house needs to come down to the foundation so that you can then rebuild something that is going to be sturdier, that is going to stand the test of time, that is going to be beneficial for everyone, not just for some. So there has to be that tower moment where everything comes down.
But
And that is going to happen when those who currently, think that, yeah, they take great pride in making fun of the sick, making fun of the immigrants, blaming the immigrants for every ill on the face of the earth is
Yeah,
the image
what
responsible.
is that about? Where did we ever, he keeps basing it on
Yeah,
these are criminals and rapists
criminals.
and crazy people and everything that we already have right here in this country, in any country, but
Yes,
to say that a group of people, like, it's just so wrong. It is just
it
so
is.
wrong. And part of the problem when we finally get to the stage of trying to get rid of Trump, excuse me, get rid of the bad guys, it doesn't come easy because
Yeah.
he has this immunity. And I love it, by the way, that there was a judge that said, you can't do this to me. I have immunity too. And,
Yeah.
he's having a little bit of tough time with that. But that immunity, and that's where this thing about decertification, which I've only really heard about from Sterling. And boy, I think that, he's been very consistent. He sticks with this decertification. And it finally dawns on me. Yes, the only way to pursue the charges against this man is decertification. Take him out of the mix of president, and now he's got nothing to he's got no safety net. He's got nothing going on there. So the decertification is making more and more sense to me. How they finally do that, my guides tell me, you're just not going to believe how it goes down. You're just not going to believe it. So,
And you know what? That's fine. Maybe we don't need to know how it's going to come down. We just need to know that it is going to
yes,
come.
yes.
So, yeah, his days are numbered. The administration is they are putting all the ills of the oh what's how do I want to describe this? They have taken everything that we dislike about humanity and they have wrapped themselves in it and said, no, it doesn't apply to me. The rules and the laws apply to you, but they don't apply to me because I'm special, right? It is going to, uh, it's going to hit them hard. I know it will. And I'm not going to have a problem with all the love that I can muster up to say, you're responsible for this. I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to support you while you figure out a way out of this. But I'm not going to solve this for you. You got to find your way out. So, it's, um,
I think when the megas, when they finally get the facts in front of them, that it will calm them down. They're always going to be upset. You'll probably never really change their mind, but it will put a little bit of doubt in there when you see how illegal and what he has in mind. And it's what we all see as clear as day, that he is not doing anything to help us. He's only doing everything to help himself and his buddies that have a lot of
yes,
money. And,
yeah, he doesn't care about, a regular Pete the plumber. He
right.
couldn't care less. He doesn't, he has never done anything in his life that has benefited anyone other than himself. And once you get to the point that he realizes that you are no longer of benefit to him, you're gone. You're dispensable. You have no use to him. You no longer exist. So for these people who think that, oh, yeah, Mr. Trump is going to look after us. He's going to throw you off that tower to save his own ass quicker than, than you can say, no, not me. Yeah.
Rose Blue just said, Cleo, I think their heads will pop. They will, but there's going to be so much resistance. And then Sherry right above that said, well, we kind of deserve to know how it comes about. You're going to get this. I see it happening. We are all going to hear about it. It's gonna, we're seeing right now just the how it's building up. How it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. You know,
Yes.
but then all of a sudden the pieces start to fall together. The Saudi Arabia connection. I'm kind of surprised that he did finally make his little trip to them, because it really changes the perspective of what he is up to. This
Yes, it
is
does.
a safeguard. This is when I have to flee. I'm coming to your country because, by the way, I've already invested a lot of money and I'm helping you
Yeah.
make even more money than you've already made. And everybody down here is rich. So you're my kind of people.
Yes.
It will all come out, but it's
Mhm.
getting to that point of actually when they do the decertification, because it can't
Yeah.
be just taking him out, because then you've still got an ex-president. And I'm thinking that he's going to think that he is protected even as an ex-president. But
Oh,
I think decertification means you are not the 47th president and you never
never
were.
were.
So
Exactly.
now you have nothing to protect you. And then you can take your $400 million plane and hop in there and ride off into the sunset, because
Yep.
otherwise you're going to jail just like everybody else.
Yes.
If you do these kind of things, what he will leave in his wake is all the people that supported him. I'm not talking about the mega people. I'm talking about the politicians and people
Yep.
that have totally supported him in this nonsense. They are in big trouble. And when their emperor leaves the country, they're left holding the bag. It's going to be
Yep.
really kind of sad, but what's really going to make everybody else really happy is when he is taken out of there and somebody else is put in. And I'm thinking the somebody else has to be the second runner up.
Mhm.
I mean, we all know that there's something strange with the voting, and they have actually proven that. But even the court said that they couldn't go back in this one state. I don't know, all the details, but that there was like 20 some thousand votes, I think, that they said it was okay for the state to disqualify those votes. Well, that it doesn't really matter. I think I don't think that he comes down because of the irregularities in the voting.
Yes.
But it's something that we all need to know, and we'll finally hear about it, and we'll find out probably how they did it and stuff. So
Yep.
anyway,
So
it's
there will
just
be other things that are going to be his downfall. Absolutely. It is the election. Don't focus too much on the election, because there are other things um, that are happening. The election
bigger,
is just
bigger,
one
bigger
of the
and better,
many things. Yeah,
bigger
it's just
deals.
a list. Yeah,
But
and
it will change how
Mhm.
elections are run, and of course, Trump is trying right now. He
Yep,
wants to change all that.
yes,
He doesn't want the mail-in ballots and stuff like that. Why not? Why not? Those things are so well protected. If you noticed on your
that's
mail-in
why.
ballot, it's got a barcode on there.
Mhm.
The barcode tells them who the ballot is from. Even though you've gone ahead and filled it out and signed it, it tells them everything about the person that did that. And if that doesn't match up, then you're in trouble. So yeah, I mean, I think we've been doing mail-in ballots in Washington State for a long time. It's never been a problem. It's so much nicer than having to go to the polling booth and do
Mhm.
all this stuff. No, why not just the way we've been doing it? But anyway, Trump's messing with that. He's messing with everything, and
Everything.
yeah,
And
every single thing.
I'll yeah, I will remind everyone that way back, even before November, and people were saying, well, if this happens, well, then we can do something at the midterms. And my message then is the same as it is now. Assuming that you're going to have a chance to vote in the midterms is an assumption that you shouldn't make.
Right.
Because they're when they the GOP the GOP are so desperate to hang on to power because they know people are not happy. They know that they're going to be absolutely voted out if there are midterms. So what do? They proclaim that they have found evidence of election interference and that there has been some shenanigans going on. And they're going to get to the root of the problem. And the only way that they can do that and to figure out who messed with what is we have to suspend elections until we get this figured out.
Oh, you're so right. Yeah, that would be a great thing for him to try to pull off.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, I am pretty sure we're not going to have to wait till those elections in 2026. I'm pretty sure, from what I've been told, that this at least the beginning of this is supposed to start this summer. I mean, maybe it could be the whole enchilada. I don't know. But we'll just, hopefully.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? One of the things that he has done is he has galvanized other countries in the world who have watched what has happened and have said, oh, hell no, that's not going to happen here. Romania, even with Russian interference and propaganda and everything else, Romania just elected its centrist, kind of liberal president. That his as soon as the polling numbers started to come in, his opponent was cheering and saying, no, I won. He was taking a victory lap. Even he was just, I won, right? I won. Don't listen to anything. I won. No, he didn't. This guy, I think with 99% of the polls that had come in, was like 10 points ahead. Like there was no way that the other guy could ever catch up, right? So I think, Romania has said no. Germany has said no. There's other countries that I think Poland is having their election as well and are saying no. So the other countries in the world they're looking to what's going on in the US and they're saying, not here. So,
don't forget, Trump actually told us that Elon Musk rigged the election.
Yes, he did.
He came right out and said it.
Yeah.
And, and it's just amazing to me that we're going to just let that go. Yeah. He comes out and says, yeah, it got rigged. What? So what? I'm in it now, and who cares? Exactly. It's just interesting to me that he can say that kind of stuff and get away with it, and nobody says, because he's got control over everybody. He's a dictator, and he causes trouble for anybody that doesn't go along with what he says. I did write this down that I don't know exactly what the reasoning was, but and another post that Trump put out, he said he suggested that Barack Obama should face public military tribunal. And I think I read that one line and just went, okay, I didn't need to read the whole article. It's just stupid. But
absolutely. And pick on Obama. Obama needs to stand and do that. Well, you know what? Maybe you can invite Obama to your big beautiful parade that you want to have on your birthday, because I want to have ponies and I want to have ice cream and cake. And
When
And
is that parade? What, in June or in May?
June 14th. It happens to fall on Flag Day, which just happens to be his birthday. So, do do you want to spend $92 million on a parade for someone who never served a day in his life because he's got bone spurs?
And they've already got all these military people and stuff sleeping on the floor of some building because they're getting ready for this a month in advance. What in the world? They're military people, apparently. And I saw that picture and I thought, what? What are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
this is such a big deal. Like, maybe you've got to have, is he planning something else? Is he planning some sort of military coup at martial, what's that called?
Martial law?
Martial law. Yeah, because he's been talking. Well, there's been a lot of talk about that. But anyway, it's craziness. It's not, it is going to change. Everybody needs to just stay calm, as weird as it is, and just know that
Yeah.
the people that will end up changing this for us are working, planning. They know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know. I mean, they didn't know that long ago. I mean, they were just shocked at what it was. But I know that there's people that are working undercover to get message. I mean, this is like the Underground Railroad or something, the way they're
Yes.
trying to connect with people. And now that Biden is sick, he probably won't be a part of this, which I thought that he would be, but I just don't think right now that that's in the works. And for all the terrible things that they have said about him, and then now trying to act like maybe it's a fake. June 14th, 2025. That's the day we flood the internet with images of Obama. Perfect, Amanda.
Yes.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, images of Obama, good stories, good news stories about Obama. Whatever, but it's Obama, Obama, Obama. And take some of his yeah, because it will absolutely drive him nuts. That it's supposed to be about me.
Well, and
And
then doesn't he want to have like tanks and all these
he wants
military?
the whole 9 yards. Just take a look at a military parade from China or Russia or North Korea. That's what he wants.
That's what he wants.
That's what he wants.
Like all good dictators want.
Yes, exactly. So, and yes, Mark Brisbois, I have my Obama tan suit pick ready. That is one that I intend to put up that day, because I mean, they crucified that man because he wore a tan suit. Well,
Yes.
I'd rather a tan suit than a shitty diaper. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, the other thing in the news before we let you go is, apparently now JD Vance was in Rome as Pope Leo the 14th got he got his fisherman's ring, and the kind of the official swearing in ceremony, if you will. Well, afterwards, he invited Pope Leo the 14th to the White House. No word on what was said, or whether or not that invitation was accepted. But given the Pope's speech after that ceremony, I'm sure that what he said was, "Oh, hail to the no."
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take that to your leader and tell him that, as long as he is doing what he's doing,
treating people inhumanely and not accepting people into the country and shipping them off and to terrible conditions. Yes, the Pope was very, very clear, of how he felt about Trump, which also reflects on the entire country. And Vance, who cares what the hell he says? You know,
Yeah, he would.
I would have still loved to be a fly on the wall on that.
I know. There was so many couches around him that, I mean, yeah, it's kind of and besides, maybe Pope Leo the 14th doesn't want to get anywhere near JD Vance because, let's face it, JD Vance basically killed the last pope, right? It was within hours of meeting with JD Vance that the Pope said, I've delivered my message. Yeah, I'm mic drop. I'm out of here. But yeah, and let's leave this. Yeah, thank you, Jason. Let's leave this on a good high note. Some of you may know that and let me okay, before I go there, let me just make sure that I can actually do this, because I tried to share this the other day and it wasn't working, so I want to make sure. Yes, here we go. Okay, so let's share this. This is the statue of Melania Trump that was a year after it was put up in Slovenia. Someone came by and burned it to the ground, basically. So now, yeah, there was someone else who came up and they put up another statue, which was, I think it was a metal statue that has now gone missing. And again, it's gone missing because it was, let me see if this is the one. Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's the metal statue.
Well, I think you should be glad that went missing.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
That apparently they left the feet and they cut off everything else. And let me remove that and add another one.
I don't even know if that's real. That's just not a very flattering statue.
I know. Yeah. No, this was the first one that and it was painted in the same color as kind of the outfit that she was wearing, and blah 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 blah. So anyway, yeah, it's the some of the authorities said that the people of the town where this statue was didn't really care for it, and no one cares that it's gone. So it was
no kidding. Duh.
Yeah, no one cares that it's gone. Yes,
it out in the middle of nowhere? Is it out in the middle of nowhere? I mean, it looks like there's no towns, there's no houses, there's no people around it. It's just out there. Just here's Marina, or whatever her name is.
Yes. Now I will hold on. I will also share with you. Let me see if I can bring this one up. And I think this one was that was the statue of Trump that was also in the village. So you've got the Melania.
Did they find this on Easter Island?
There you go. So, for some of you, if you're looking for, for memes and whatnot, things that you can make fun of, there you go. Up in the air, and it was a hideous statue. It really, honestly,
hideous is the word.
Yes. So there you go. Winner number one. So I will, yeah, I will leave you all with those images, something that you can laugh at, something that you can imagine as you deal with him,
Look at
and
that hair.
yeah, and the things that he's doing, and blah blah blah. So uh yeah, yeah. So
The chatters loved it, Marina. They loved your
yeah,
pictures. I
good,
haven't ever seen those before. That's
good.
funny.
Yes, I I did have a good laugh when I saw that, and I particularly laughed when, yeah, the authorities in Slovenia said, "Hmm, whatever," just burn
Artist
the first
says,
one.
artist Liz says with those voodoo pins in his head.
Yes, May, maybe that's why he's going a little, crazy in the head. Is
Yeah, I think
some of
maybe
those
that's just
pins are making contact. So
well to let us know that everybody knows he's a little crazy in the head, so we'll just stick pins in it.
why not? Why not?
Wow.
So we will leave you on that note, and thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you go over to Cleo's channel, and do the subscribe on there. It's free. It doesn't cost anything,
Yeah,
and
really.
we want to be able to share the laughter with as many people as we can. So yeah.
And I'm so sorry I was late today, and I do love doing this show with Marina. I just got my times mixed up because I'm
It
old.
happens. It
It
happens.
takes nothing for me to screw up, and so I just blame it on my age.
There you
But,
go.
thank you, Marina, for actually extending this show another 20 minutes because I think that's about when I came in here. So I got my hour in, and
Yeah,
the chatters today have just kept me in stitches. You guys are funny.
absolutely.
I
Yes.
really enjoyed this. So
Yeah. And love doing this for you guys. So
yes,
yeah, make sure to we'll be doing this again on the 19th of well, no,
June.
today is the 19th. Duh. We'll be doing this again in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, in sometime in June. So just check our web, not our web pages, our YouTube pages. Yeah, you'll see it posted on there.
Yeah, yeah,
So
sometime in June.
yes,
It doesn't
absolutely.
matter. I'll probably be late to that one too. I
No,
just
no, 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 no. All right,
all right,
everyone. Thanks for being here. Cleo, thank you for doing this with me. And we'll see y'all later.
all right.
All right. Bye
Bye
for now.
bye.